I'm glad you could stop by, for just a few moments anyway, to have another brief French lesson. And today my topic is the conjugation of ER verbs. Okay, so what's conjugation? Well, it's something you really do all the time. You're probably not aware that you're doing it. And it's one of those things it's easier to show you than it is to tell it to you. So, you'll know it when you see it. Let me get you started. First of all, you can only conjugate verbs. You can't conjugate nouns or adjectives. It's only something we do to verbs. And to start conjugating, you need to start with your infinitive. Okay, what's a verb infinitive? Well, in English, it's that verb form that has to in front of it. For example, to love, to hate, to be, to see, to do. Those are all infinitives in English. We have a to word infinitive. Well, they have infinitives in French too. They're just not two words, they're one word. Let me show you an example. Let's try the verb regarder. This is a French infinitive. Notice that the ER on the end of an infinitive is pronounced A, and you can tell why this is called an ER verb. It's because the infinitive ends in ER. Okay, and this means to watch. Okay, so we've got our infinitive, regarder, to watch. Okay, so how do we go about the conjugation? Well, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to form our stem. In English, we form our stem very simply. We simply get rid of this to, and we've got our stem. So in English, the stem would be watch. Okay, in French, of course, not two words, so we have to form our stem a little bit differently, but it's still a very easy thing to do. You simply get rid of the ER on the end, and you've got your stem. So the stem of regarder would be regarde. Very simple, right? Okay, before we go on, let's make sure you know what your subject pronouns are. Okay? I'll show them to you in English, then we'll do them in French. All right, let's start with the first subject pronoun, and that's the person you are closest to, and that would be I. You're closer to nobody than yourself. Okay, so I is the subject pronoun. Now, what about if you're talking about yourself, I, but you're in a group of people? You're included in a group. Then you use the subject pronoun we. I and we. I am happy. We are happy. See, in that we, you're including yourself. Okay, let's go on. Who's the next closest person to you? Why, that's the person you're talking to. And what subject pronoun do we use for the person you're talking to? We say you. You seem happy. Okay, you. Now, that's talking to one person, but what if you're talking to a group of people? What subject pronoun do you use? Well, in English, this is where it gets a little complicated because we use the same word, you. I say you. You seem happy, talking to a group of people, like you people seem happy. Or I can use you with one person. You seem happy, one person. So it gets kind of confusing. And for even English speakers, it's confusing. So we found some ways to work around this. In the good old South, we say y'all. So we have you and y'all, and that helps us distinguish to whom we're talking. All right? So just make you aware of that. Subject pronoun is you for singular and you for plural. All right? Now, who's the next person closest to you? Actually, this person's not all that close at all. In fact, they don't even have to be in the same room with you. They don't even have to be in the same country with you. All right? That's the person you're talking about. And that would be he. Or, if it's a girl you're talking about, she. Or, if it's a thing you're talking about, it. Okay, since I don't want to put all of those words in this box, I'm just going to represent them with he. But know that she and it can also fit in this box. All right, and when you're talking about a group of people, What subject pronoun do you use? Of course, you use they. Okay, so now here we have our subject pronouns. We're just about ready now to actually start getting into the good stuff about conjugating. All right? Let me just show you what the subject pronouns are in French. All right? For I, we use the word je. Je. For we use the word nous. Notice we don't pronounce the final S. We often, most of the time, do not pronounce our final consonants on French words. Okay, the word for you, singular, is tu, tu. And for you, plural, we use the subject pronoun vous. For he, the subject pronoun is il. Okay, now if you want to say she, the subject pronoun is elle. So we've got il and elle, he and she. Just to keep it simple, I'm going to just use il, but know that elle can also go there. And for the word they, okay, in French, you can make this plural by saying il, plural, or if you're talking about a group of women, it's elle, plural. And in French, if you have a group of women and there is one man in the group, then you have to use il, plural. So if it's a group of men, il. If it's a group of ladies, elle. If it's a mixed group, it's il, plural. All right. So I'm going to put il, plural, back in there. Notice that the singular il and the plural il are pronounced exactly the same. So when you're speaking and listening, you can tell the difference between these two by the context, and that's your only guide. All right. So we've got our subject pronouns in place. All right. What's the next thing we do for conjugating a verb? Well, we are going to put in our stem. Okay? So, and each one of these different subject pronouns is going to have the same stem. All right? So you can go ahead and plug in the same stem for all of them. All right? So I'm going to have my stem there. Regarde. I'm going to put my stem here. 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 And I'm going to put my stem here. All 6 of these have the same stem. All right? All 6 forms get the same stem. That's what makes it so easy. The only thing that's left to do is to add endings onto these stems. And the endings help you understand which form you're talking about. And each form gets a different ending. Well, almost. You'll see. All right. In French, for ER verbs, the ending that I use for je, the I form, is E. The ending I use for my tu, or the you singular form, is ES. The stem I use for he or she, il or elle, is once again E. So in the singular, it's E, ES, E. For the new form, the we form, my ending is ONS. For the you plural, the vous form, my ending is EZ. And on the end of a vous form, the EZ is always pronounced A. All right? And then for my il plural form, they, my ending is ENT. Okay? So notice we've got E, ES, E, ONS, EZ, and ENT. It's only 6 little forms, and it's so easy to memorize. E, ES, E, ONS, EZ, ENT. And of course, you can't see that, but it's so simple. I was doing it with my eyes closed. E, E-S, E, O-N-S-E-Z-E-N-T. E, E-S-E, O-N-S-E-Z-E-N-T. E, E-S-E, O-N-S-E-Z-E-N-T. And the nice thing is that these endings are the same for all ER verbs. So for ER verbs in French, they're going to have the same endings. E, E-S-E, O-N-S-E-Z-E-N-T. And about 80% of all French verbs are ER verbs. So I've just showed you how to conjugate 80% of all French verbs. Okay, let's look at how these are pronounced. Je regarde. Tu regardes. Il regarde. Nous regardons. Vous regardez. Il regarde. Notice that the je, the tu, the il singular, and the il plural forms all sound the same. Regarde, 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 regarde. The only two that sound different are nous regardons and vous regardez. Let's do those again. This time you repeat after me. Je regarde. You try. Tu regardes. You try. Il regarde. You try. Nous regardons. You try. Vous regardez. You try. And il regarde. You try. All right, now let's translate. This can mean je regarde, I watch. It can also mean I am watching. Or it can mean I do watch. It can mean any one of those three things depending on the context, what you're trying to express. Likewise, tu regardes can mean you watch, you are watching, you do watch. Il regarde, he watches, he is watching, he does watch. Nous regardons, we watch, we are watching, we do watch. Vous regardez, you watch, you are watching, you do watch. And then ils regardent, they watch, they are watching, they do watch. All right? Well, that's how we conjugate ER verbs in French. I hope this explanation has helped you, and I hope you'll go out and find some more ER verbs and just start conjugating like crazy. I really am glad you could stop by today. Find yourself an ER verb and conjugate it. You'll feel better. Thanks for stopping by. Au revoir, mes amis.